Phoenix Books presents Mark It and Strike It, an autobiography, written and performed by Steve Allen. This performance is copyright 2014 Phoenix Books. It has been digitally remastered from the original 1986 Dove Books on Tape sound recording.
I suppose people will listen to this tape or read the book from which it's drawn who never read the story of Albert Schweitzer or Galileo. They ought to be ashamed. On the other hand, they could be reading the story of Boy George. I've learned the details of my early life the same way I learned about the lives of other men, by hearing stories. One of the most fantastic is that I was born. Do you realize how astronomical the odds are against your coming out of the boundless, black, silent void of the universe? Well, in any event, this unbelievable thing did happen to me in Harlem, New York City, in 1921, on the day after Christmas, which is regarded in certain parts of the world as St. Stephen's Day. St. Stephen was the first Christian martyr. When I was young, I received the impression that we Christians were a more or less defenseless people who had been put to death in great numbers down through the centuries. I've since learned, to my shame, that we've evened this score and then some, so that the present tabulation shows we're far more accustomed to killing than to being killed. And, of course, every so often we confuse the statistics by killing each other. Anyway, my own family was a rather warlike tribe. I'm referring to my mother's family, by the way, since my father, a vaudeville singer and straight man named Billy Allen, died when I was 18 months old. The boys of the family were high-spirited, independent, argumentative, popular, wild, and unruly. The girls were the same with long hair. There existed in the house, therefore, an atmosphere of fearful tension. The only thing that made the endless bickering tolerable was the sense of humor with which the family was blessed. My mother was probably the funniest woman in or out of show business. Milton Berle once said as much about her. Mother was a great comedian and a fascinating companion, but it always seemed to me that life had done a peculiar job of casting when it handed her the role of mother. You see, to keep all of us eating, she had to work. That meant traveling on the road, which in turn meant that I had to be left home. Mother told me that when I was just a few months old, I became so ill that it was impossible for her to take me on the road, and since she and my father were performing in San Francisco at the time, I had to be placed in a hospital in that city. I was left there for several months while they traveled about the country working. Aunt Rose, my mother's sister, was dispatched to San Francisco to represent my interests during this period. When at last I was able to leave the hospital and delivered back into the arms of my parents, I marked the reunion by slapping my mother's face.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?